wonder what happens when you mix hot lava and chicken?
I'ma be honest, the Technoblade cameo is alone better than Rachel Zegler's entire career, or at least the career she once had, because not only has she sabotaged herself due to her disrespectful comments about the original Snow White movie, but now with Jack Black supposedly confronting her behind the scenes, it's looking disastrous for Rachel Zegler. But honestly, it feels kinda good to say that. Anyways, enough yapping, let's get into it, and trust me, you'll want to stick around because this one is crazy. Let's talk about Minecraft, a movie based on a game where the main mechanic is hitting trees until you get a house, somehow becoming one of the most successful and talked about films of the year. Critics predicted a flop, analysts didn't take it seriously, but audiences, they showed up and showed out. Kids were screaming in theaters like it was a rock concert, parents were laughing, teenagers were showing up in full suits. It wasn't just a movie, it became a full-on event, a celebration of creativity, nostalgia, and pure unfiltered fun. The Minecraft movie delivered exactly what it promised, a silly, joyful, crowd-pleasing adventure packed with references, Easter eggs, and an undeniable understanding of what made the game special. And while yes, it's aimed at children, it didn't talk down to its audience, it welcomes them in. It didn't try to teach them a lesson, it just said, hey, want to have fun for 90 minutes? And people said yes loudly. Jack Black was at the center of that success. The man is incapable of being boring. In the movie, he's essentially a chaotic Minecraft tutorial NPC, guiding characters and viewers alike through the blocky madness. But he did it with such enthusiasm and heart that even the cheesiest one-liners hit. First we mine, then we craft might go down as the weirdest cultural reset of the year. He sang, he joked, he made kids laugh and adults smile. And behind the scenes, he might have dropped the biggest truth bomb in Hollywood. Now, this part is still just a rumor that I've seen circling around on the internet and on YouTube, but it's gone viral, so it's practically entered legend status. Jack Black allegedly confronted Rachel Zegler, according to behind the scenes reports. He questioned her attitude during the press tour for Snow White and asked pretty bluntly whether calling critics trolls was actually helping her. Not yelled, not screamed, just calmly asked if alienating the fanbase was a smart move. Supposedly, this was the moment things cracked. Some say she stormed off, others say she broke down. Social media went quiet, press events slowed down, Zegler's usual online presence disappeared, the Snow White team went into full panic mode. Whether the confrontation actually happened or not, people latched onto the idea because it symbolized something real, one actor trying to protect the audience connection, while another seemed to treat that audience like an inconvenience. And now we circle back to the downfall of Snow White, which by the way should have been an easy win for Disney. This is the studio's original princess, the one that started it all, but instead of honoring the legacy, they try to reinvent it completely, not update it. Not modernize with care, just rip it apart and tape it back together with a totally different message. From the start, Rachel Zegler was out here roasting the original. In interviews, she called the 1937 film outdated, mocks the idea of a prince rescuing a princess.
The cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power and what a woman is fit for in the world. And so when we came to reimagining the actual role of Snow White, it became about the fairest of them all, meaning who is the most just and who can become a fantastic leader. And the reality is, you know, Snow White has to learn a lot of lessons about coming into her own power before she can come into power over a kingdom.
And announced proudly that her version of Snow White wouldn't need a man.
I know that you've told me before that your version of Snow White is different and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story. With a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
Then came the infamous quote, "People always come see me no matter what." Yeah, that aged like milk.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces. And people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Audiences didn't respond with support, they responded with memes, with mockery, with videos of Rachel sitting alone in empty theatres on premiere day, surrounded by a sea of vacant red seats. It wasn't just a failed film, it became a visual metaphor for everything wrong with modern remake machines. And the backlash wasn't just from the usual suspects. Even longtime Disney fans, the kind of people who still cry at the opening notes of When You Wish Upon a Star, were done. They weren't asking for perfection, they were asking for magic, and what they got felt more like a lecture on why magic is outdated. Behind the scenes, it was chaos. Disney execs were reportedly scrambling, test screenings were flopping, entire scenes were being cut weeks before the premiere, reshoots were ordered in panic, PR damage control was activated, even Bob Iger was allegedly asking how a $1 billion IP turned into a $1 billion headache. Meanwhile, the Minecraft movie, a film with zero legacy pressure and a plot that could have easily phoned it in, was soaring past expectations. It made over $300 million in its opening weekend. Snow White barely scraped past $160 million after 3 weeks. One was a family-friendly, silly adventure that understood its audience. The other was a joyless rebrand with the emotional depth of a student presentation on cactuses. Here's the thing, audiences don't hate change, they don't hate modern values, they hate being talked down to, they hate when stories lose their soul to chase a message. Snow White didn't feel like a story, it felt like a scolding. Minecraft on the other hand, felt like a party. Jack Black brought people joy, Rachel Zegler brought them tension, and the contrast couldn't be more obvious. One actor embraced the silliest and made it shine, the other acted like she was too good for the role that made her famous. That's why this whole story has struck such a nerve. It's not just about one bad movie, it's about what happens when studios stop listening, when actors treat their fans like critics, and when beloved stories are reimagined into something unrecognizable. Disney could have had a $1 billion movie. They had the brand, the nostalgia, the fairy tale, but they let it all fall apart in pursuit of a message nobody asked for, delivered by a star who didn't seem to care. And now Minecraft, a movie where Jack Black yells about redstone, is wearing the crown instead. Rachel Zegler might recover, she's young, talented, and this might just be a rough chapter, but the lesson here is bigger than her. It's a warning to every studio banking on IP over heart. You can't slap a legacy name on a script and expect people to show up if they feel like they're not welcome. Audiences want fun, they want wonder, and yeah, sometimes they just want to see Steve punch a zombie in the face while Jack Black sings about it. Because what Minecraft delivered more than anything was sincerity. That's what Hollywood keeps missing. We don't need every kids movie to carry some grand ideological movement. We need them to feel like the filmmakers actually like what they're making, and more importantly, that they like the people watching. There's something incredibly powerful about a film that says, hey, we're here to make you smile. That's what Minecraft did, and the audience responded loudly. Meanwhile, Disney turned one of their most iconic stories into a symbol of arrogance, not just from one actress, but from an entire system that thinks it can steamroll fans' expectations and still cash in. That system is cracking, and Snow White might just be a film that finally forced Disney to face the music. Maybe they'll learn from this, maybe not, but either way, the message is out. And let's be honest, when a movie built on 8-bit blocks, meme humor, and zombie chickens manages to emotionally connect with an audience more than a Disney classic remake with a $250 million budget, you know something is off. It proves that fun isn't outdated, joy isn't cringe, and caring about your audience isn't optional. There's a real hunger for joy-driven storytelling again, not manufactured hype or recycled messages, but the genuine spark that makes people want to go to movies in the first place. People want to feel something real. They want to be swept away, not reminded of everything wrong with the world. And Minecraft of all things understood that. That's what makes this so wild. It wasn't a perfect film, but it knew its mission. Bring people joy, simple as that. This whole situation is a cautionary tale. Studios can't keep treating legacy characters like clay to be molded around social media trends. You can modernize a story without mocking it. You can uplift characters without turning them into preachy avatars for moral superiority. I don't know how to say that word. The trick is to do it with love. Love for the source and love for the people watching. So what now? Maybe Disney listens, maybe they keep crashing into walls until the budget finally breaks. But for now, one thing's clear. Audiences are done settling, and they're not afraid to give their attention, their love, and their money to something that actually respects them. Let me know what you think in the comments. Was Rachel Zegler unfairly blamed, or did she self-sabotage with a press mic and too much ego? Should Disney take a break from remakes and focus on new ideas, or at least stop rewriting the ones that already work? Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, comment, have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.